Have you ever felt insulted, humiliated when someone said something to you, passed a negative comment about you, nagged you, or just made a facial expression or gesture looking at you? Did you feel let down and embarrassed? Hey people, today I will be addressing something all of us have been through at varying degrees and at different stages and phases of our life, and that is shame. Shaming someone means humiliating, degrading, insulting, embarrassing, and even dehumanizing another person. This violates the human spirit, leading another person to feel flawed, inadequate, unworthy, or damaged. Shaming others can be expressed in different ways. One way it can be done is verbally. The words you use, your tone of voice, your intent, the context in which it's done adds weightage to the humiliation another person feels. A few examples of that are negative and inappropriate commenting, name calling, labeling, etc. Another way it can be done is through the use of facial expressions like eye rolling, expressions of disgust, laughing at someone with the intent to make fun of. And you could also use gestures like signaling someone, pointing, touching. And of course, another way is by physically spanking, hitting, etc. Shaming might address any aspect of an individual. For example, the physical traits of a person, like a person's height, weight, complexion, gender, etc. It could also address a person's language, religion, ethnicity. It could be directed toward a person's intellectual ability, character, personality, or even a person's emotional or mental being. In today's video, I will discuss shaming and humiliation that's done verbally and how that impacts the human psyche. In a few of my past videos, I discussed how we were compared to others right from our childhood and how so much of equity was placed on our negatives rather than our positives. Today, I will dive deeper into how all that is said to us is absorbed by our mind, and this creates a virus within us that slowly spreads and makes us who we are. Let's start with our homes, the first place to influence us and to have a great impact on our lives. As a child, all that we know is the people who live within this space, that is, our homes, are people who love us. And in this space, here are a few humiliating and heartbreaking things that are said to children and might have been said to us too when we were children. Let's hear them out. You can't do anything properly. You're good for nothing. You never get anything right. Nobody loves you. You ugly little brat. You're so worthless. You are the cause of all the fights that happen in the house. It's all because of you. I wish you were never born. Unimaginable. These are just a few things that I've mentioned, but there are so many heartbreaking things that are said to us when we were children and that we say to our own children. What is said to a child by an adult is what somehow becomes their belief. For a child, adults know better. They know it all, especially the parents, the caregivers, and people they look up to in their own homes. Because these people are their home, their world. And these are the people who say such terrible things to them that they believe to be true. Now let's move on and talk about school. So, when I conducted a survey with a few people and asked them to share their experiences on comparisons made to other students in school, what I realized was that they were more impacted not by the comparisons made, but by the shaming and humiliation made by their own teachers. Teachers in school have made such harsh comments that these comments have left scars in the lives of people and they remember these for a lifetime. Let's hear a few comments. You're always going to remain a C student. Why don't you stop your dancing class and focus on studies? You're such a brainless creature. Even a donkey can learn better than you. What a useless assignment. Just throw it in the dustbin. Hey, you, monkey, get out of my class. Stop spreading negativity in my class. This behavior of yours shows how ill mannered your parents are. You are a shame to our school. Why don't you just leave? I can't imagine that a teacher can say such things. It's extremely disheartening. Apart from commenting and labeling, a few other things that teachers have done to some students are calling out a student's name on the intercom for the whole school to hear to shame them, calling out a child's name in an assembly or in front of the entire class with the intent to put them down for their bad behavior. One such example is reading out a student's paper in front of the class, wherein you're aware that the child has made numerous amount of mistakes and you intentionally read that out for the class to mock the child and make fun of him or her. In my wildest imagination, I can't think of reasons why somebody would say such mean things to another human being. As parents to your own children, as teachers to your students, or as adults to any other child, teenager, and adult. And while you do so, you are breaking that human being from within. Oh, yes, of course. The ridicule doesn't stop there, right? It continues in adulthood, at workplaces, social gatherings, friends groups, etc. Let's look at a few examples of humiliating and ridiculing comments made at a workplace. You're not competent enough. You're very immature and unprofessional. Grow up. If you can't do this, resign. At a workplace, demeaning comments made continually can break a person's confidence, and I have witnessed this myself. When you say something that tears someone down from within, can you really expect better performances? I don't think so. By the way, ridiculing comments are not necessarily made by the higher hierarchy. It can be done by colleagues too, just as it can be made by any random person at a social gathering or a friends group. Comments that are made could address your way of talking, your dressing style, what you drink, what you eat, your choices and beliefs. When we make humiliating comments to others, our tone of voice, the context in which you are in, whether you're alone with that person, there are other people there, your expressions, your temperament, your intention, all of these factors contribute to the other person feeling insulted and let down. If you are using taunts, derogatory terms, ridicule, or any other negative comments for a person to improve and get better, if you think they're going to learn something from it, then that's not going to work. You don't tell a person that they are bad at communication skills by ridiculing them, belittling them in front of other persons, and expect them to improve. You don't humiliate and insult a person who is overweight or underweight and expect them to now work on gaining a healthy weight. You don't tell people how terrible they are and bad they are by teasing them, ridiculing them, making them feel lower and lesser to others. That's not going to have a good outcome at all. If you are truly concerned about a person's shortfalls, their behaviors, their traits, or anything you think that is interfering in their growth, then call them separately and talk to them. Reason out with them, make them feel valued. Explain to them anything that you might want to point out that you think they need to improve upon, and maybe give them a few strategies. Listen to them most importantly. Maybe what you think is a shortcoming is something they have been working on already. Maybe they're aware of it already. Maybe they've already come a long way to even reach here. Whatever it may be. Remember one thing, that negativity doesn't kill negativity. What I mean is, you can never get rid of a negative behavior with a negative approach. And shaming and humiliation can never bring anything constructive from it. It will indeed only cause damage, hurt to the person who is using it and the person it is used for. People who come across as negative, who ridicule others, who demean others, who put others down, make fun of other people, are the ones who've been through ridicule and belittling themselves. They carry that seed in them and unknowingly pass it on to others. And then it goes on like a vicious circle. It's difficult. I know it's really difficult. When you've been through hurt and pain because of shaming and ridiculing, it is difficult. You don't realize that you have it within you and that you're passing it on. But trust me, if you are able to sense that you are ever saying anything humiliating to others or making fun of others, please pause and question your behavior. It is advisable for us to examine our own behaviors. You can examine your behavior immediately, but what happens is when you are in that spot, in that moment, you might not be in the right space of mind or in the right place to do that. However, make the time to examine your behaviors at the end of the day. Before you go to bed, examine your day. Trust me, the negatives that other people did to you will come to your mind just like that. You won't have to think hard because our mind very easily remembers the pain that others have caused to us. Let's say someone said something negative to you or you had a negative experience in that day. Bring that incident to your mind and examine what was your response. Was it good? Was it appropriate? Could you have responded in a better manner? Did you just respond as badly as that other person addressed you? Think about it. And now comes the most important part. Did any incident happen during the day where you demeaned somebody, where you belittled somebody, made fun of somebody, said something hurtful to somebody? Try hard. Think about it. What others did to you comes to mind easily, but what you did, you might take a while to recollect. Analyze your behavior, and if you remember the slightest thing that you said or did that let somebody down, that could have hurt somebody, be aware of it first. Then realize that it's coming from a place within you that has been dehumanized and hurt in the past, maybe till the present. Think of how do you feel when others belittle you. You'll immediately realize that what you have done wasn't the best thing to do. Trust me, people, just being aware of your behavior and having a moment of realization that this was not the best behavior is the first step towards transformation and change. Once you've started realizing what you are doing wrong in your approach towards others, you can then bring about slow and conscious change, and it will make you a better version of yourself. When someone humiliates you, it causes a lot of pain because it attacks your basic human need of safety and belonging. To conclude, I have 4 points that you can remember. Examine yourself to see if you put down anybody during the day in any way. If you find yourself doing this even jokingly, be aware of it, accept it, realize where it is coming from within. It's probably a deep rooted scar. We can heal from it and become a better version of ourselves. But the first step is realization. Secondly, if you catch somebody humiliating another person, call it out. Don't insult the person who's doing that. Take that person separately. Talk to them. Tell them clearly about their behavior, what they said, what they did, and how it's harmful. Remember, they are coming from a place of hurt too, so make them aware. Thirdly, be there for somebody who has been humiliated. Uplift them, explain to them that their worth doesn't lie in what other people say and think about them. Sometimes just being there and listening, not saying anything, can be helpful. And always remember, the result and consequence of shaming someone can never bring anything good or constructive. Let's spread love. Like, share, and subscribe if you like this message. And I'll see you next time.